going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex. I talk a lot of movies on this channel, on occasion video games and TV shows. And speaking of video games, we got a somewhat video game movie. Not really, but we're going to be talking about the movie Dumb Money. Dumb Money stars an ensemble cast. It is directed by Craig Gillespie and stars Paul Dano, Seth Rogen, Vincent D'Onofrio, Shailene Woodley, America Ferrera, Sebastian Stan. Dumb Money is about an internet commenter, Keith Gill, who sinks his life savings into GameStop stock and posts about it. When his social posts start blowing up, so do his life and the lives of everyone around him. As a stock tip becomes a movement, everyone gets rich until the billionaires fight back and both sides find their worlds turned upside down. Essentially, this is based on the true story of the GameStop stock shortage from a couple years ago where hedge funds were betting on GameStop to fail. That's essentially what this movie is. It has a lot going for it. The cast, the director, I like a lot of Craig Gillespie's work, but I think what really works for me, I think the biggest standout thing in this movie for me is even if you don't understand any of this world, like this whole stock trading, hedge fund, Wall Street corporate business bullshit that takes place every day. Even if you don't understand any of that, the movie is very approachable and very comprehensible. There might be some moments here and there where you are kind of lost, where you're just like, what just happened? But for the most part, I think casual audiences who don't know how any of this shit works will probably understand it. I understood, I would say, about 98% of it. I knew what was happening. I think that's maybe because I read the article about this when this whole thing first happened. I just think it'll be funny if this movie just kind of comes and goes as quick as that whole story just kind of came and go. It was like, that was reported, and okay, we're moving on to bigger and better things. And I feel like this movie's coming out, and everybody's going to be like, oh yeah, that GameStop thing, that happened, right? Okay, moving on. And it's just so interesting to see certain people playing all these different hedge fund managers, like fucking, what's his name, that owns the New York Mets. Vincent D'Onofrio plays Steve Cohen. I'm just like, how now, why am I surprised that Steve Cohen was involved in this? I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, he owns the New York Mets. He just spent a shit-tillion dollars on them to be World Series contenders this year, and they aren't even in the playoffs. Man lost to two things in life. But I did like, getting into this world, seeing how the stocks were shorted by these hedge funds, looking at these hedge funds and being like, yeah, you're the rich assholes that are making us poor. And it really brought up some moral dilemmas too, because as the investors are investing in this stock, it's like, oh, hey, do I pull the trigger? Do I sell it? Do I buy it? Do I stay put? And everybody's just so tempted to not sell it. And I like that the movie actually really, really touches upon that subject. Like, what would happen if you do sell it? What would happen if you do buy it? I think that those are logical questions that need to be asked in a situation like this, and what the real life implications would be. The performances all across the board are really good. Paul Dano, man, I mean, this man can go from playing this disturbed kid who's mistaken for kidnapping kids and prisoners to being the most terrifying Batman villain ever in The Batman when he played the Riddler, to being this guy, a nerd. And the thing is, where this movie lacks in character development, it really makes up for in its performances. And Paul Dano really had to sell this performance as a nerd in this movie. And he is a total fucking nerd in this movie. And I'm not complaining because I'm a nerd too. So I don't really have much to say. I can't make fun of nerds. I mean, I'm wearing a freaking Harry Potter and Aliens combo shirt. It works on two levels. That is as nerdy as you're gonna get. So he sold me as playing a nerd. Somebody else who also stuck out in this movie, Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson was actually really good in the movie. He had a bigger role than I thought he would. He still play his usual character, that whole, hey guys, I live in my mom's basement. You want to smoke some weed? That type of character, essentially himself. But he was actually really good in the movie. He had a lot more screen time than I expected him to. And when he's actually saying comedic lines, I was actually laughing this time around. I thought they actually gave him some good comedic bits in here. The editing, too, really makes this movie fun to engage, because it'll be like a bunch of clips from TikTok or the news just interspersed all over the screen, but they're set against a backdrop of those cool internet memes, those Lord of the Rings internet memes, or they even throw Planet of the Apes in here. And I was just like, this is making the movie more engaging. It's making me geek out. And I don't know if that's the intention, but it's making me like this movie a lot more. It's definitely distracting to a certain degree because you're trying to focus on what's actually going on here. And a lot of those clips, those news clips and those TikToks are actually about the situation at hand. But I was just more focused on the Planet of the Apes memes and the Lord of the Rings memes. Those were fun. I thought that those were nice little editing choices that even if they take you out of the movie for a minute, it just got a little chuckle out of me. I could be the only one that thinks that. Where I think the movie falters a little bit is that it does feel a bit rushed in its climax. I think that the movie knows it's missing certain information or it changes some information around. Like, there might be like people out there who have read this story or who have read the book that this whole thing is based on. But like, no, there's a lot more to it. Like, for instance, I was just doing some research before I did this review. Apparently the same thing happened to AMC theaters, or was going to happen to AMC theaters. That entire thing is just left on the cutting room floor, nowhere to be seen, swept under the rug in this movie, not even a mention of that. So, I mean, it does feel like it is missing some information. But it never feels like you're catching up with anybody, which is a good thing. It feels like you're already there with the characters. It doesn't feel like you have to play catch up or the movie has to play catch up. It just feels a bit rushed in its climax. It just felt like, okay, we gave you all the information you need, so now we're just going to kind of wrap things up in this pretty little bow, but it's not really all that pretty. It still feels like there's about 10 to 15 minutes missing from this movie. It is an hour and 45 minutes, so I know that we are getting some shorter movies now, thank God. I just think this could have benefited from a little bit of a longer runtime. I think it needed a little bit more information, but it helps get the gist of what the movie is about across. Even if it feels like it is missing information, there's the gist of it is there. As long as you get the gist of it, I think you'll really like this movie. I enjoyed Dumb Money with a full bucket of popcorn. I thought it was funny. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was interesting. It opened my eyes up to how corrupt hedge funds and the manipulation of like Wall Street stocks and even Wall Street itself is. You might not understand it, but I think after this you'll come away being like, yeah, that was actually pretty comprehensible for something I didn't understand. If you have seen Dumb Money, I think it comes out next week, or it's out this week for limited. I think it goes wide next week. So if you have seen it, let me know what you think about it. Drop me some feedback in the comment section below. I'll leave my link to my website or to my link tree in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere. Got my words tripped up there.